Why don't we go next to Dan from California? Dan from California, welcome to the program. What's on your mind today?
Hi, David. I called a few months ago and asked if I could post my calls to your show on my YouTube channel, and you said no. Um, but I was wondering if I did not post a video, if I only posted the audio of it, would that be okay?
Dan, I think every time you call, you ask about that. And I don't know how interesting it is to post calls about whether you can post calls, but the rules are the same for everybody, which is if you are transforming the content we post, either by doing an analysis of it, and so you're playing the audio and video, but you're talking about it, or you are posting a recording you make from your side of the calls, that's all fine. What you can't do is just upload our content unedited, because that's just reposting, and that is not allowed. The algorithm will automatically, remove that content or copyright claim it. I don't know what it does. I don't even manage it. So the rules remain the same for everybody on that.
Um, okay. I guess one other thing. Um, is it okay if I mention what my channel is before I get to my substantive question?
You know what? Why don't we just get, this isn't like to promote channels. Like if it, what did you have a question today? Let's go to the question directly rather than
Yeah.
all the kind of, sidebar.
Okay. So in our last discussion, I was describing my Ayn Randian view that a social system should be voluntary and not coercive. And as part of your criticism of a voluntary system, you said that it would result in some people having priority and greater access to things that that you think should be public services. And to that, I would say, if by public services you mean services that people should be forced to fund, I don't think there should be any public services. I think forcing people is wrong. I think that's anti-freedom. So I'm interested in, is that what you meant by public services, that services people should be forced to provide?
Public services can be anything from public transit to police to the framework of law around which contracts can be enforced. Here's the thing, Dan. The reason these conversations are so boring and pointless to me is that I am not planning on leaving society. And in anything approximating an even remotely well-functioning society, you pay taxes, and the taxes are used to fund a variety of public services. And I like that. I want to live in a society where such public services are provided. So this entire thing of, the people are forced to provide services and the taxes are slavery and everything, it's just not even interesting, because I live in a real society that exists and I want to improve it as much as I can. And so talking with folks who, are you actively looking to move to such an Ayn Randian voluntarist society as you describe? Is that something you're actively looking for to move to from California?
No, I'm looking to live in the best place I can, which for me, I think right now is America. And I want all these services as well, but I don't think that means that we have to force people to provide them. And I think it's immoral and wrong to do that.
And what
The
do you
issue is
like
not
when you
should there
say
be these
when you say
services.
a public service that an individual is being forced to provide? Can you give me just an example so I know like generally what you're talking about?
Well, I mean, it could be anything: police, water, electricity. The issue is how it's funded, not whether the service exists. I think all these services should exist, but I don't think people should be forced at gunpoint to provide these or to fund these services. I think that's
People are
immoral.
forced at, hold on, the police officers are being forced at gunpoint to be officers?
No, no, no. The funding of these services, you have to pay taxes, or else you're going to be hauled off to jail by
Right.
people with guns that are going to show up. So it's a coercive mechanism of funding these services that I want and that you also want. But what we differ over is whether it's appropriate to coerce people into providing them. I think it's not appropriate, and
Well, hold
I
on a
don't see a
second. Hold
good
on a second, Dan. I
justification.
mean, this is such, I feel like I'm back in, Fort freshman economics here, because we're going back to this, but people are being forced to pay taxes to pay for police, which they may not want to do. You're choosing to work and live in a place that has taxes, right?
Yes, but there's no right on the part of the people who are coercing you once you it's not just the choice to live somewhere, it's what they
Yeah.
do after you're there. Like, if you go to somewhere and you know that there are rapists around the streets, and there's a chance that you will get raped, yet you choose to go out at night, and then you happen to get raped, that doesn't mean you chose to get raped. It doesn't convert that sexual
No, but what I'm
action
saying is
into a
something
voluntary
different.
one.
If you live in California, you know, I'm shocked people still have these sorts of discussions because it just does nothing to improve society. But Dan, if you live in California and you say, okay, I'm aware of the tax system here, and I'm going to live here and I'm going to work here, and I am going to have to pay taxes, and I might not like the way my taxes are used, and my recourse is to join with other people who don't like how my taxes are used and to vote for someone who will use my taxes in a different way. And if I don't like that, I can move, or I can go completely off the grid and go back to a state of nature where I just, become a hunter gatherer. Or, it's just like we've gone over this. This is one of those kind of extreme libertarian arguments that does nothing for anyone.
Well, I disagree. I mean, I think
Okay.
having these arguments is important, and I think there's a lot of confusion surrounding them. So I think it's a worthwhile sort of discussion to have. Um, I mean, you could say about this antebellum South. We had slavery.
Yeah.
Should we just accept that? That's just part of society, or should
No,
we
we
fight
didn't
against it
accept
because
it. We
it's an
went to war
injustice?
over it to end it because that's what the majority
Right.
ultimately wanted to
Yeah.
do.
Well, I don't think it's just the majority that matters. Even if whether it's a minority or a majority that wants slavery, it's an unjust institution
I
and it
agree.
should be
I agree
gotten
with
rid
that.
of.
Yeah.
I don't believe in mob rule. I don't think just because a majority wants something that it should go. I mean,
Listen, Dan, you've
that's
been
what kills
calling me for
Socrates.
years with very similar questions. What have you done other than call me to try to shift society to be the voluntarist society you desire?
Well, I've called lots of people. I've debated Sam Cedar a number of times. I've debated Luke Beasley, I think he's associated with your show. I mean, on my YouTube channel, if you're interested in what I've done, I'm not going to say what it is unless you tell me to. But I've done lots of discussions and debates with people, trying to give people a
Okay.
different way to look at things. So, and I plan to continue doing more of that. So
All right,
that's
Dan
some of
from
what I've done.
California, very good. If folks are interested in this sort of discussion, they can let me know. What I see from the audience whenever Ayn Rand types call in with this stuff about taxes are coerced and I don't want to do anything, I don't want to pay for anything unless I want to, I want it should all be voluntary. The reaction is like, hey, let's fix the society we have in reasonable ways rather than kind of live in these fantasy worlds that have never worked anywhere. But maybe I'm wrong. The audience will let me know. All right, everybody, let's go to a break. Appreciate everybody who called in and that I was not able to talk to, but we will do it again. Taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it really should be simple. Simple. That's why for years now, I've been drinking AG1 every day. It's just one scoop mixed with water once a day, and it gives me the foundational nutritional elements I want for the whole day. Each serving of AG1 gives me what I want in terms of vitamins, minerals, and more. It's just a simple habit. I know that with AG1, I'm getting high quality nutrition. The ingredients are sourced for nutrient density and absorption. If you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1, try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2, plus 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/Pakman. The link is down below.